Hey, welcome to this, which is a Patreon episode of Gamey Game.
Thank you for subscribing.
Thank you for being patrons.
Of the arts. This is definitely
Is this
artistic.
art?
This is way art.
This is art.
Our video games art. Well, our video games shows about video games also art. Yes. Evan's face is art.
My face is art. Thank you, Dave.
Well, it's more like Picasso. Picasso.
That's harsh. What on? Okay. So we're
No sex games.
Can you guys
on
focus?
air.
Focus. If you have a yearning for a classic beat 'em up, look no further than Raging Justice, out now for Switch, PS4, Xbox One, and PC. It's a love letter to those vintage brawlers, Streets of Rage, Final Fight, Double Dragon, and it's less than $20.
Yeah, and it gave me a raging boner. That was my joke for the Call of Duty bros out there, the brotastic people who enjoy games like Gears of War. I just wanted to do a line for them,
Right.
as I always do. Thank you for being bros, slam a can of mother.
Raging Justice. It's a lot like the other day I was playing Streets of Rage 3 on the Xbox One.
We've all got stuff going on.
Because it was free with the Games for Gold.
Yep.
There's like a Sega Vintage Collection which has Streets of Rage 1, 2, and 3 on it from the, what are they, 1990?
Yeah, very early 1990s, yeah.
Yeah.
Early to mid, yeah.
Why don't they make a game called Streets of Peace, where you just go around hugging people, giving them cake?
That'd be nice.
I think-
maybe you should do that.
That's a game I play every day.
I think that's...
You're the bravest person I know.
Thank you.
So Raging Justice it's like a.
I've got a Raging Justice.
That's just Dave already did a joke like that.
Okay, sorry.
No, it's all right. You can call back to it.
I've got a Raging Justice.
Hey.
That was better because of the
That was good.
incongruity.
Equality. I don't have a penis.
You can still get a Raging Justice without a penis.
Oh, I know.
You got one now.
Matter of fact, I got it now.
You're beating up a pimp.
So this game really is an homage to
yeah.
Streets of Rage. Like it's basically the same, sort of. Like it's pretty much the same.
It's not really an homage, it is the same.
Yeah,
It's
basically.
like the graphics are better.
Yeah.
It's an homage in the way that Vanilla Ice and Queen have the same song.
Yeah,
Does that make sense?
completely makes
How?
sense.
Please
Because
explain.
it's the same as Under Pressure and Ice Ice Baby. It's that kind of homage. Yeah.
Who was taken off who?
It was Queen's first.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that checks out.
Right.
And that's what we've come here to discuss.
I tell you what this reminded me of, Rival Turf by
right.
Jellicoe on the SNES.
I don't know Rival Turf.
Hang on.
It was like a real budget one. My friend, who was poor but still had a SNES, had Rival Turf, and we'd play it all the time because it was the only game that he had. I never even had a console.
Like these street brawlers, they're fun. It's just like one guy who's he's pissed off some people, and he's got a lot of people he's got to beat up.
He's got a Raging Justice for justice.
In his pants. That's the same joke, isn't it? Can I do that thing briefly where I talk about the entire history of a genre?
Sure, go
Because
for it.
I don't know if you know,
You've lived this.
but this is my 40th year of playing video games.
Whoa.
Like 4 decades of video games. I started playing video games at the age of 3 in 1977. I was
Right.
playing Space Invaders, standing on a crate in 1977. So, the first side-scrolling beat-em-up was technically in 1984. It was Kung Fu Master. Are you guys aware of that?
I know
It's
Kung
like-
Fu Master.
You were like a guy wearing white pants and no socks, but some Kung Fu slippers.
Oh yeah.
And you would walk along and you would kick people and they would fall off. And it was basically loosely based on Game of Death, the Bruce Lee movie, where you had to go up the towers and they were progressively more challenging. It was a great game. My favorite coin-op ever. I was 10 years old. I pumped some coins into that motherfucker, I can tell you. So this game is inherited the kind of the developments in that genre, most notably resurrected in 1987 with Renegade, and then the sequel, Target Renegade, on the Commodore and Sinclair Spectrum 48K Plus.
Where does Le Double Dragon come into this?
Double Dragon was a coin-operated machine released in 1988 in the States and Japan, and
when I was born.
1989 in Australia
was born.
and the UK. Double Dragon was the first one to actually have two characters at the same time. So you would have twin arcade sticks and buttons on each side.
Yeah.
Double Dragon.
Like co-op.
One of my favorites, might I just add.
It was amazing. It really did refine
Loved
what
it.
had been started by Kung Fu Master and Renegade by kind of just making really amazing kind of sprites. The graphics were fantastic. The enemies all had certain patterns. You could grab people by the hair and knee them in the head.
Could pick up weapons.
You could pick up weapons that other characters had. Knives, baseball bats, whips. And you could also go up and down in elevators. There was this motherfucker of a bit that I swear the programmers put in there just to make people pump more quarters or 20-cent coins or 10p pieces in, depending on where you lived locally. And that was the bit where you had to, towards the end, in the third act, beginning of the third act, there was a bridge out, yeah? And you had to jump across this broken bridge, and there was water at the bottom. And so you had to, like, gingerly kind of make your way to the edge, because you had to use the full jump to get across, and then jump across. But these motherfuckers, Capcom or whoever made the game, if you just tap the joystick, that's a headbutt. So if you and your friend, which happened many times, are trying to jump across the bridge at the same time, you can headbutt each other into the water. And oh my God, I swear to fuck, so many fist fights in Dundalk, County Louth, Ireland, resulted from that one motherfucking horrible overlap of mechanics. I swear my best friend Patrick and me probably didn't talk for about a week. And we actually thumped each other's arms so hard, we got corkies.
Corkies.
You may know them as a dead arm.
Oh, yes.
Or do you call them
David, why did you do that? What are you talking about?
Oh, fucking Egypt.
Fuck you, Patrick.
No.
Fuck you, David.
I didn't mean it, sure. It's the fucking buttons, sure. So anyway.
So this is Double Dragon we're talking about?
This is Double Dragon.
Yeah, okay.
People who played Double Dragon will know the bit. It's a fucker of a bit.
Yeah.
And even if you'd not headbutted into the water, it's still hard to make the jump. Anyway, so this game is probably more akin to stuff like Final Fight and what's the one you mentioned, Streets of Rage?
Yeah, Streets of Rage.
Yeah. So basically, you pick from one of three characters. That's the development these games made from Double Dragon. So again, it's two-player, but you pick from one of three characters. One's a tank. He's just like all kind of like power, not much agility, not much speed. Then there's a all-rounder person, and then you got like a really agile, not strong character. And that's what they've done here. They've recreated that.
And they've added an additional mechanic of arresting people.
Yes, that's interesting.
Yeah,
don't
so
you think?
that's the justice element.
So there's kind of like this little mini game that you have to do while you're playing this. Is it there? Because each time you hit these bad people, they've got a little health indicator with their name, and you've got to make sure you don't kill that person. You arrest that person, you'll get bonus point,
Right.
which is French for points.
Yes, we know that from Eurovision.
I found it really
Yes.
hard to play this game. I couldn't, because you're moving back and forth, it looks kind of like a 2D game, but it's not a 2D game. And so I'd just be like, punch, punch, and the person would be like, there. And I'd be like,
yeah.
oh, for fuck's
Yeah.
sake.
The depth is a bit.
The depth is really hard.
Yeah.
I liked it. I thought it
up,
was
man.
charming, and I like the fact that it is like
Charming.
these games. But like it uses these 3D rendered, quite well rendered models, and it's got nice little effects to it. Like it is like a.
Yeah.
It's still a side scroller, but it's got cool graphics to
Yeah,
it.
the graphics are definitely upgraded from like the early kind of 90s, but the frame rate's about the same, I think you'll
Yeah.
find.
Yeah, it has got that sort of feel to it. Like it's
Yeah,
definitely
the
not
animation.
60 FPS sort of
Yeah.
realistic.
They've taken that straight from Double Dragon, that kind of knee in the head. There's also weird vehicles, like you can get a ride-on lawnmower at one point and
Really?
just carve people down, which is kind of fun. Like overwhelmingly, I
Hammer
think
time!
this game just made me want to play that free kind of package of games that came out for Games for Gold last week. I just wanted to
Yeah,
play the
yeah.
original Streets of Rage Final Fight, because this is honestly a shadow of what those
Yeah.
games were. And I think it basically comes down to the fact that, like in the time that those games came out, they were AAA titles. And like there were so many people behind it. so much money went into creating them, and it was the zeitgeist. It was the absolute, zenith that games could be back then. They were the games. They were the #1 games. But now it's just like maybe an indie studio with a bunch of people working on it. So it's never going to have the same passion or drive behind it. So it's never going to be as good. However, it is an admirable kind of blast from the past, and it's a really cool kind of harken back. But it's not quite, doesn't have the magic that those games honestly still have, in my opinion.
Brasier would like to give her 2 cents in this.
I don't know. I only played this game as the dude, but I just felt like all the women in this game were just like these kind of floating tits that were like, hey, and I was like, it's not.
There are a lot of prostitutes.
Yeah, there are a lot of prostitutes that you beat the shit out of.
I think that could have been changed.
That was kind of weird.
Absolutely, Michelle, in the modern era. I completely agree with you. And I think they were just kind of basically going with the blueprint of the horribly kind of sexist 80s games, which were based on 80s movies at the time.
Yeah, it's just lazy. I just think it's lazy.
Yeah.
I think that's actually... I'm
not offended. I'm just like, do something, just be better, do something better.
Yeah. But there is a female playable character, which was never a thing back in the
Well, I thought there were 2,
Final Fight.
weren't there both? Wasn't there 2?
There's
like
one
There
one
might be
dude.
2. I only
Rick
played as
Justice.
the dude.
Yeah, there's one dude and then 2 ladies.
There's an African-American lady, and then there's a kid with a green cap on.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's this
yeah.
one.
I
That's
Play
on
as
the
the
screen
kid,
right
that's
now.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The little kid.
So
Look at those
there's a bit more
orange-haired
representation
world
of
leaders.
genders, but yeah, you're right. I mean, all the kind of the other women in the game are all kind of like they've got hooker boots and big hair,
Corsets and weird. Yeah, it's odd.
Like,
all the
I don't
villains
go
are
to
stereo.
a fight in a corset. I often am wearing corsets and often am
too.
going to fights. But I never mix.
Never mix them.
Never the twain
mix.
shall meet.
Exactly. That's my one rule.
You know what this kind of reminded me of was...
Who picks a fight on the way to a goth club is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Goths are the nice ones.
Happy World Goth Day, everyone. That's relevant.
When's
anymore.
World Goth?
It's a goth day.
Today is World Goth Day.
Get
Happy
bro-
Goth Day.
Today when we're filming this,
Yes.
which is Saturday the 19th of May.
So Saturday was World
Okay.
Goth Day.
Congratulations, goths. You are
You did it.
better than emos.
They are
You
better.
outlasted them.
Yeah.
Goths like corn. I love corn.
I don't know.
This
I like corn.
Patreon subscribers will get a corn album and some guy liner and an ankh, one of those Egyptian fertility symbols.
Yes.
For free for World Goth Day. Cheers. Don't hold me to that. But definitely you get to see him in the nude.
definitely.
Bon.
we will promise that.
This kind of
100%.
reminds me of the Tekken Force mode that's in the Tekken, some of the Tekken games.
Oh, of course.
Which is this sort of like street brawl, like beat 'em up sort of thing.
Yeah.
But it's a bit more three-dimensional.
Yeah. What I'll get is when you, obviously the choice that you mentioned is you get to bash them to death or arrest them. When you arrest them, they leave behind a fried chicken.
Yeah,
Or burger.
Yes, to consume at your leisure.
So
Which is
nice.
I
what?
don't think criminals do that. Pimps don't anyway.
Well, you haven't spent enough time on the streets.
Yeah, they do.
Because let me
Yeah,
tell
they
you,
do.
when you arrest someone, they go boop boop boop,
What?
and then turn into a hamburger,
How do they
and
go
then you
again?
just walk on that hamburger and it disappears.
How do they go again though?
Boop boop boop.
What do you, why would
Do you
you?
want this? I put it in my mouth.
No.
One thing I found distressing about this is they didn't have a level where you fight at a train
No.
station.
Oh yeah,
That's
train
always,
station's a
there's
classic.
always been a subway train station level.
Yeah.
And they didn't do that. And there wasn't enough like riding in an elevator all the way to the top of a building to fight some golden demon.
Yeah.
Right.
That's always a thing too.
Missing some tropes.
You got to understand this is influenced by the games that were influenced by the movies of the time, like the early 90s, late 80s movies. Golden Child, Big Trouble in Little China.
Warriors.
Well, yes, big time. Yeah, of course they were, yeah. So that's why you've got lots of really, kind of trauma-looking, cliched and hackneyed kind of 80s bad guys. However, this game is confused because the hooker lady women people
Sex
have
workers.
sex worker people have tasers, which is
Yes.
very modern. However, there's like telephone booths everywhere, like there's no mobile phones. So
It's a bit out of time.
Yeah,
Anachronistic.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I mean, which is fitting because this game is an anachronism in a way.
Yeah.
Where so what do you reckon, Dave? For what is it, $15 on Switch?
Yeah. Well,
is it worth picking up?
Oh, look! If you really love Streets of Rage, it's going to leave you a little bit with an appetite for something substantial.
Yeah.
However, if you want to blast through it for an evening with a friend, over a couple of brewskis,
Then buy Shovel Knights.
then buy that. Yeah, no, you'll have fun with it with a mate. I think it's good kind of co-op,
Yep.
but it's not entirely substantial, I feel. But I'm glad they made it. It's fun.
Yeah.
I played it once upstairs.
Yeah.
No, I'm done. I thought it was fine.
Yeah. I don't know that it's. Maybe if it was a little bit cheaper.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
what, $17.95 or $14.95?
Well, it's 14 US, so I think the exchange rate at the moment means it's something like $20 or a bit less.
Yeah.
It's a price of a brunch. You could
Yeah.
just have a brunch instead.
Yeah,
Would have
brunch
brunch.
is the ultimate game.
Get a fried egg on sourdough instead.
Yeah.
It'll be more substantial.
Get a smashed ever, you bloody millennial.
You can co-op a Smashed Evo.
I'm a millennial.
Me too, technically.
Hey, I hope you enjoy this little look at this game.
I hope you got a raging justice over it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Raging just ass.
That's the best one so far.
Thank you very much.
Namaste.
Namaste.
We'll see you on the flip side.
On the FS.
I will never see you again.
We'll never see Michelle again.
Why?
I have to go.
For good.
This
Call
little
of Duty.
potato.
Oh, it's it.
This potato.
Call of Duty.
I actually have to go.
Ben has to go. Bye, guys. Bye, everybody. Bye.
I've enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thank you.